Hi everybody. This video is in regard to a post I put on Facebook this morning about my arrival into Dominican Republic yesterday, January 6, 2018. So I want to kind of briefly explain my experience here, when I came here and why I'm here, so you can better understand what happened. And really this post is for everybody to know what's happening, but mostly for any foreigners who live here right now, who are living here more than 30 days, or anybody who's planning to come here for more than 30 days, and again, who do not have a visa to be here, who do not have a visa to go to school here, who do not have a visa to work here. We're all having problems now. We're all going to have problems. Um, I came into Dominican Republic yesterday to come back home because I live here, and I was detained in immigration from 3:30 in the afternoon until 11:30 p.m. So now I'm going to bring it back and tell you about my life a little and why I'm here. So in 2014, I moved here. I just wanted to change a life, and I came here. And my plans were, of course, to be a contributing member to society and work and buy a condo or a house or something and maybe have my own business and whatever. But when you move here and you don't have an ID, which is, you don't know anything about this until you move here, but when you move here and you don't have an ID, your hands are tied. You cannot do anything. You cannot find a good job. You cannot get a loan to buy a car. You cannot get a loan to buy a home. You cannot do anything. So, that's okay. There's ways around that, right? If you have money. So I don't. I'm not a person that came here retired with some pension that I can look forward to every month. I'm not a military veteran and have some type of income coming to me every month. And I don't have a rich family back home that sends me money or that I could have asked for money. I'm just not one of those people. But here they think, you're white. Of course you have money. Well, I don't. So again, I came here with very little money saved, and I plan to work and make my way just like I did in the United States all my life. But jobs are very minimal when you don't have an ID here. So you can't get an ID unless you have your residency here. And now I had sold my home. I had nowhere to go back to in the United States. Nowhere to go back to. I'd sold my home and my life was going to be here now, and I was going to make it work, and I would just save money to make my papers or get them done, right? No. So a lawyer here, to get your papers done, they charge a minimum of $1,000, and of course something always comes up, so you have to pay more and more and more, and it takes a long time. But if you're only making $6 an hour, or $7 if you're really lucky, and most people don't make that, by the way. Most people, the majority of the population in this country makes 150 pesos per hour, and that kind of rounds out to say $3. It's more or less $3 an hour. So you try to save $1,000 or $2,000 when you're making $3 an hour and you have to pay rent and buy food and pay for transportation every day. It just doesn't happen. Things aren't cheap here like everybody thinks. Your apartment is cheaper than an apartment in the United States, but food is the same price. And transportation, it sounds like it's cheaper, because when you say 50 pesos, it's really like $1. But if you have to do that a few times a day, then that's a taxi in the United States. It comes out to the same thing. There's really no difference. So anyway, I worked jobs and I made my way up the ladder, and I earned more and more money, but I still never earned anything past $1,000 per month. I'm going to talk in dollars to make it easier. And so earning $1,000 every month and having to pay out 700 of that in expenses, it's very hard to save for a lawyer. So your other option is you can go back to the country you're from and hand in your passport to the embassy, the Dominican embassy, with your application and proof that you live here, right? Or you have some ties here, and you need a sponsor, and that sponsor needs to have 150,000 pesos or something similar to that in their bank account at least for 6 months. 150,000 pesos. Most people don't have that. Most people don't have that. Most people don't even have 5,000 pesos in the bank. So 150, to find somebody that has that, that's going to trust that you don't screw them over and be your sponsor, that even complicates it more. So the situation just never fell into my lap where I had those options. But I had hope in myself, and I knew I would find a better job, and I would make the money one day to do these papers, right? Or I could marry a Dominican and get my papers done. But you know, me getting married, like, not for real. It's not kind of on my priority list. So I started this great job working for a company online out of the Dominican Republic. It's not a Dominican company. It's not affiliated with anything Dominican at all. They don't speak Spanish. It's nothing with the Dominican Republic. And keep that in mind, because that plays into why I was detained. So I've been working for that company since February, and I've been saving my money because my plans are to leave here. My life isn't advancing here, and I'm no longer interested in trying to get my residency because I just want different things now. A few years later, my goals have changed, and I'm not going to stay. But for me to move back to the United States, I need to save a certain amount of money so that I can pay for those $1,500 rents, 3 deposits, maybe even buy like a really cheap car to get around depending on where I live. If there's not transportation available, buy myself a bed or the basic necessities, just like I did when I came here. The same thing, basic necessities. So I've been saving and saving and saving. This is the first year that I've been able to leave the country. Actually, 2017, sorry, was the first year that I've been able to leave the country for a significant period of time, and it was to spend the holidays with my son. I went to Massachusetts and I stayed there for about 3 weeks. When I came back into the country yesterday, I was detained. The reason why I was detained is because she asked me, the immigration officer asked me, do you work here? And I said, I work and I'm physically here, but I don't work for any company here. Oh, so you work here? Oh, okay, so you're coming with me. And she clearly did not understand my answer. And that actually continued to happen. I realized that when I say I work online or I work on the internet, they didn't understand what that meant. And that's actually sad to me, that you can't comprehend something like that. I described it more. I work online on the internet and I do this specific job and the company is here and blah, 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 blah. I explained it all. I said, I just have to open my laptop. I can actually show you my work contract and what I work and what I earn. If you want to see, my bank account is here in DR too. I can show you my statement, whatever you want. Like, I can prove it. I'm not just telling you this. Everything I tell you, I can prove. And my landlord sent me a copy of my contract here in my apartment, and he was willing to vouch for me. And many friends showed up at the airport or called and you know, to vouch for me that I'm not some delinquent person here and making trouble and I don't have a criminal record and so on. So they weren't interested in any of that. They didn't want to see it. They didn't want to see the proof. They didn't want me to prove them wrong. They just kept, no, you need to leave, you overstayed. I'm like, what do you mean I overstayed? I always stay longer, and when I leave, I pay the tax that you require me to pay. Gladly I pay it, and then I re-enter, and if I overstay again, I pay the tax. No, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're only allowed to stay here for 30 days, and if you overstay, you're illegal. So you overstayed, and you did it deliberately, and I'm like, I've been coming here forever, and this is not the first time I left the country after overstaying, and so you can see my passport. I'm just going to show everybody. Like, I've come quite a few times, right? It's not just, I don't know. I mean, I've been to other countries too, and it just blew my mind that they were saying this. I'm like, when did that start? It's always been that way. And I'm like, why do you have an exiting tax then? It's not a fine, it's a tax. It's called exiting tax. And you can Google it, exiting tax, Dominican Republic, and it comes up. It tells you if you stayed between this many months and this many months, you pay this, and this many you pay this, and it goes up depending on how long you've overstayed. So I'm like, okay, well, then can you give me some type of extension of time? If you don't want me to be here in the country, fine, but my apartment's here and all of my belongings are here. Everything I own is here, and it's not much, but it's mine and it's all I have. My clothes even. Can I get those? No, you're going back. We're sending you back to the United States. I'm like, what? This can't be true. And I was upset and I began to cry. And let me say this too. I want to tell you the people I'm dealing with. So initially I'm dealing with the immigration agents that you see when you get off the plane. And then they send me to like their boss. And he's nice, he's not rude. I don't want to say he's understanding. He doesn't have to be, but he's not rude, and I appreciated him not being rude. But then some lady comes in and she's just horrible. She's a horrible person. And I feel bad for anybody that's close to her because she can't be a nice person in her personal life. She was very rude and so like disgustingly sarcastic, rude to her employees. She was rude to everyone that came through that airport, the flights that came after, as I sat there and watched with my own eyes because I had a seat that viewed the flights coming in. There were diplomats coming in and she was rude to them. She was rude to everyone. The 3 people fainted while I was there in line, and she was rude to them. And she was rude to the people that helped. She was rude to everyone. Over the line rude though, you know? So she's kind of, no, you're out of here. And so let me tell you this too. As I'm there, I'm the only American that's detained. When I got there, there was about 10 other people detained, and they put you all in this like long hallway. You can't charge your phone, so if your battery's low, you're screwed because you're going to lose communication with everyone. Food didn't exist. Something to drink? No. None of those things are happening. So if you think about those luxuries in the States when you get arrested and they have to provide those things to you, that's not happening here. Not happening. They didn't ask, they didn't care. I was traveling with 2 animals and they had to stay in their bag. I had to take them to the bathroom so they could pee on the floor so that they didn't have to pee inside of their bags. Super inhumane. I think that bothered me more than anything. So anyway, in this hallway, there's people from Venezuela, not any, what's the right word so I don't sound bad, reputable people either. There were prostitutes and pimps and sex traffickers and blah, 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 all in that hallway. And I knew that's what they were doing because I sat there with them for 8 hours and I heard them try to bribe other immigration officers to help them get out. I heard one girl offer herself so that she can get out. So, and she looked disgusting, and I'm thinking, why the hell am I here with these people? Because I'm not like that. And I'm not a shady ass person that's here to do anything criminal related. And I don't know, it was such a sad situation. And many people helped me, and outside of there, of course, and finally somebody came to my aid and I was able to leave. And when I left, I wasn't told you have a certain amount of time to get out of here, but the reality is that if I overstay 30 days, now it's 29, then I won't be able to ever come back to Dominican Republic again. Also, while I was there waiting, they detained at least 30 to 40 other people from various countries that came through on flights, but they were released right away. After they're humiliated a little, then they're released. People in wheelchairs, people that had to be 85 years old being questioned about some type of stay they had at some point or something. So the new rule is you can't live here in Dominican Republic if you're from another country unless you have a visa to live here. You can't try to make your life or try to get that visa while you're here. You need to do it and come back. She literally told me, you want that? You need to go back and get it and you come back with it. You can't work on it while you're here. She said that and I heard her tell other people who were students that went to school here and then maybe stayed a little longer to have fun. Nope. She humiliated them too. And you can't overstay, period. Forget about that tax you pay. It's irrelevant. You just can't overstay anymore. And they don't care. And I'm sure that the whole Trump thing of sending immigrants out of the country, which I'm not completely against if you've done something wrong, right? If you're a criminal, right? Or if you're there illegally, yeah, of course, whatever. I'm sure that Trump's backlash on that has made Dominican Republic a bit angry too, and they're trying to kind of get a revenge. Yeah, I get it all, but There's just a right way and a wrong way to do things. And yesterday what they did, especially me there with animals, they handled it completely wrong. It was very unjust, very inhumane, horrible in every sense of the word. And they don't have to ask me to leave. I'm gonna leave because I don't want to be anywhere that I could ever face something like that again. And that's just like the cherry on top. Because anybody who lives here that's not from here, you know the stuff we have to deal with. You know how that everybody's always trying to hustle us. But I'm done. And also, I've been told, well, maybe they were trying to get money because here it's very common. They try to get money from you. Well, that didn't happen there, and I'll admit that. I asked them, not if they wanted money. I said, do I have to pay a fine if you want? Tell me, do I have to pay a fine? I'll pay it so I can get back in and at least just resolve my situation, and I'll leave. I'll leave the country. Fine, I'll find a way. They weren't interested in that. It didn't matter. No point was I asked for money. No point was that even insinuated to anyone there. And I just think we really have to beware. If anybody thought that this was going to be a safe haven or a new start or a peaceful place, you're wrong. We're all wrong, and it's not going to happen. It's not happening anymore. I hope we all enjoyed our time here, but things have changed, and there's something new in place. And if you leave and you've overstayed, if you come back, you better come back with some type of visa, or you will not be able to come back into this country. And it doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter. They don't care. I'm shocked they let me stay. I really am. I don't know how. I feel like something bad is going to happen. So if you know anybody that's in a similar situation, and I'm sorry for the long video, but again, I wanted to explain as much as possible because questions come up and people say, yeah, but what if? So hopefully this video gave you enough information so you're not asking what if. But if you know anybody this could pertain to that lives in Dominican Republic or planning to come here and overstay, you can't do it anymore. You just can't do it anymore. And you should check into it if you're one of those people, because you could definitely have problems. So good luck to everybody. It was a really horrible night last night. Really horrible night last night. And I woke up extremely upset about it this morning. I can't believe that happened. I don't know. I'm just disgusted by it. And I don't even want to be here.